first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Really excited to talk a little bit about your all's project, but I wanted to just quickly first ask you guys to introduce yourselves, give us a little background on who you are and what you do for the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name's Cecil Robles, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nft IQ. And we essentially partner with established brands and enterprise companies, enterprise level companies, and bring them into the metaverse and into Web3. Everything from looking at the core strategy to how to really build community and engage with their current customers or clients or future buyers. And so that's what we've done now with Delorean. We have a little bit different of a model in that we come in and we actually partner with the company. So we put up a lot of the funding in order to bring the project to life, and then we get rewarded if the project's successful. So and so that's our relationship with Delorean and with the Alpha 5. And super excited about the project and glad to be here chatting with you guys.
Awesome. And then I'll let the other team members introduce themselves if you guys like.
Yeah, my name's Dylan. I'm the community and collab manager for Delorean. I've worked with Limitless Flight before, and I run a Discord management company called Black Label Admins, and we handle quite a few Discords. And yeah, I've been in Web3 and a lover of NFTs since I first learned about them about 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And I've been in the space full time ever since, fortunately. So that's my backstory.
Awesome. And I think we got one more, right?
Hey everyone, I'm King Pickle, go by KP. I've been working with the team on the marketing arm of everything, as well as the Web3 consulting and advising side. I've been in this space for like a year and a half now. And I just got to say, like, everything that Delorean is doing right now is like true Web3 stuff. It's really, really, really cool. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is like a off topic, but one of my favorite things about interviewing projects is when they're excited, just excited as I am, or some of the people in the audience are about the project. That tells me that that you guys are in it for the right reasons. So I love that. I love to hear that just from the jump start. So thanks for being excited, guys. My follow up question to who are you guys is, what exactly is Delorean? Tell us kind of a quick overview of the project.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, everybody probably knows Delorean here. If you're, an 80s kid like me, you grew up with Back to the Future and Doc Brown and Marty McFly, and then of course the classic Delorean DMC-12 they haven't. So while they've kind of lived in this digital realm between the movies and merchandise and inside of video games, with Sony and Microsoft and PlayStation types of kind of Web 2 gaming, games that throughout the years, the Delorean has been in these virtual worlds, so to speak. But hasn't produced a vehicle in over almost 40 years now. 1983 was the last run of the original DMC-12. John Delorean tried to, before he passed, tried to get something going again in the 1990s, but never got through with a product or a finished design. Again, the brand has stayed alive for 40 years. And I think actually in the last 7 years or so, they've done probably about $2 billion in merchandising. I mean, the brand is well known. It's 64%, I believe the statistic is, of the world population knows about Delorean, and of course knows the classic Delorean, the DMC-12. And so, Joost de Vries, who has worked with Tesla helped launch Tesla in 2012. Was on the executive team, Volkswagen, and a number of other big car brands. Was presented an opportunity to really come in and to build a brand new car of the future, supercar EV for Delorean, and really had the vision for it. And so that brings us into today. And, there's any better brand out there to.
There we go.
Hey, it looks like Discord had a something wrong with it, and they literally kicked us all out. Cecil, sorry about that. You were mid stride in your explanation.
Okay, no problem. Where should I pick up from there, or should I?
Yeah, I think literally maybe where it started rugging, as you said, where it brings us today.
Okay, so where it brings us today essentially is, I think DeLorean is the perfect brand to, launch their brand new, supercar EV, the Alpha 5, with NFTs and in the Web3 Metaverse space. And they're doing it in a very unique way. We came up with a very unique strategy to tie all of this together and eventually tie the NFT to the physical vehicle and to all the data within the vehicle to put, at the end of the day, data back into the back into the hands of the owner, of the vehicle itself. And so the way the automotive industry works right now is when you go and buy a car from a dealership, the OEM essentially has all of your data. You don't own that data. You sign your life away essentially. And, the owner of the vehicle or the buyer, the purchaser of the vehicle never gets access to their data. You go into your service center and, they plug your car in, or they have certain sensors there, and, they're able to pull up all of the data, but you never again get access to that data. So, the end goal, the ultimate end goal is to have the NFT tied to the IoT system within the car, dump the data into a blockchain database, and then essentially load all of that data into the NFT. And the NFT stays with the car for the life of the vehicle. If the car is totaled and, is gone, then the NFT is gone as well. If somebody sells the vehicle later on down the road, then the NFT goes with the vehicle. So it really is a true digital twin, of the buyer's Alpha 5.
Wow. So I mean, and this brings my next question is with the NFT that you guys are launching. You guys are also launching. So it's a companion to the car. So will there be more of the NFTs than there are cars, or is this like a one-on-one with a car? Like, if I want to mint this NFT, do I need to buy a car? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, sure. No, the fair question. So no, you don't have to buy the vehicle. There's 3 phases to this. So the first phase is what we're in right now. The first phase allows you to get a production slot. So there's going to be 9,351 vehicles ever produced. That'll take place over about a 3.5 to 4 year period of time. And then once those vehicles are produced, that's it. There'll not be any more produced after that. And then there will be 9,351 NFTs minted. That's it. So each NFT ties to a vehicle, although the purchase in this first phase does not, require you to purchase the actual vehicle. So you put $2,500 down, you buy the NFT. If you decide to purchase the vehicle in the future, then that $2,500 goes towards like a deposit for the vehicle. If you sell the NFT on the Delorean Exchange or Delorean Marketplace, then you are essentially passing that $2,500 deposit to the next person. And so, anybody who wants one of these in this first phase, or who eventually wants a car, has to actually go and buy that NFT. So, the idea is that, once the NFTs are gone, if a car collector comes along and wants to buy it, they've got to go to the Delorean Marketplace or Exchange and buy that NFT. The second phase, essentially, that will happen 6 months prior to production, the holder of the NFT that has their production slot, so let's say it's slot number 1, it's the first car ever going to be produced. 6 months prior to production, you get a notification. It basically says, okay, now is the time for you to customize your vehicle. So you'll go in and choose the vehicle color. You'll go in and choose, all the various options that come along with it. And what'll happen at that particular point, you'll pay another $5,000. That'll be a deposit as well. And then you're 6 months out to that vehicle being produced. You'll get another NFT. Your first one will be burned. You'll get a second NFT at that point in time. Essentially will be a replica of the customization that you've done to the actual car. And so you still then have, 6 months or until you take delivery of the actual vehicle to sell it on the open market if you want to. So you can sell your slot, your reservation. So again, you have slot number one, and that's the first one that's ever going to be produced, and you own that slot. You can see how potentially valuable that becomes to somebody that really wants the vehicle. Most of the people that are purchasing these right now, because we really haven't gone out to the Web3 or NFT communities. Most of the people that are buying these right now, they actually want the car, right? And so, those people probably will just sit on it and hold it until they get their vehicle. And so that's phase 2, and then in phase 3, that's when the vehicle actually gets dropped, delivered to the owner, to the holder of that customized NFT, and then from there. That's where the data play comes in, that we'll tie the data to the NFT. You'll be able to see, how many times the battery's been charged, how many miles, obviously, how many times the headlights have been turned on. All of the data that IoT system collects from the vehicle will be piped right into the NFT. Scan an NFC chip on the vehicle, pulls it up, and you can see all of the data. You'll eventually be able to give a token to somebody if you want them to view the data, and so on and so forth. So that's the overall, I guess, really big picture view of what we're doing.
And I'm trying to find the words to describe the emotions that I'm feeling right now, but I literally just like, holy crap. Like with Moonbirds, NFT project Moonbirds, one of the utilities was you got an awesome little what do you call it, a fanny pack. You're telling me with Doc, are you telling me that with this NFT I can buy a DeLorean?
That's correct. Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
It's insanity. That's a crazy utility. So let's back out for a second, because obviously we're alpha guys here in the NFT industry. We're in the Web3 industry. A lot of us make money off NFTs in some way or another. What's keeping someone from flipping this? So like just with like the Xbox, the new Xbox and the new PlayStations, people can't get those, and it seems like there's a limited supply of these cars. It's probably going to be pretty highly sought after. What's stopping people from minting one of these things and then quote unquote scalping it? And is that something that you guys are trying to deter, or is that something that you guys are okay with?
No, I mean, the way that a lot of these vehicles launch is really not the right way. We wanted to do it in a transparent way, and that's one of the reasons why we chose blockchain and why we chose doing it in this particular fashion. Is really to democratize the ownership of a vehicle. And so, if you look at what the Hummer and the H3 just did, the electric Hummer, right? They came out and they pre-sold the reservations for getting the Hummer. However many hundreds of thousands of people bought that reservation. Problem is, you don't know when you're going to get selected to even get one. Most of the time, what ends up happening is you've got big car buying groups like car dealerships and big car dealership networks that will go in and they'll buy the majority of those reservations. So they'll go in and drop 20, 30,000, 50,000 reservations at a time, and essentially they control the market at that point. So for instance, right now, if you want to buy one of the Hummers, even though the MSRP is like 119,000, these dealers are raking the price up to to 315,000. I think I read an article recently on that, that some of these were going for 315, 330. So the way that we built this is that one NFT per person, essentially one build slot per person. There will eventually be 9,351 owners of these vehicles. Now, of course, you can go in and game the system, I guess, by having your wife buy one too, or your kid or your cousin or whatever. You can obviously game the system just a little bit, but not much. And so the idea is that we want people to have the ability to sell them if they want to sell the reservation slot if they want to, because when you go put your deposit down on a Tesla again, or the H3 or any of these other cars that are launching, you don't have the ability to sell it. There was with Tesla, because what people were doing is they would buy the reservation spot for $2,500 and then they would go onto eBay and flip it for like $40,000 and $50,000. So we know there's going to be speculation, and that's okay, because we want an open and a free market. And if somebody wants it bad enough, they're going to have to come on to what we built is what we call the Delorean Exchange. So that exchange will be everything NFT related for DeLorean. So if somebody, ultimately, it's really a car dealership in Web3. If somebody really wants one of these, if they're a buyer from Dubai or they're, a car collector, they actually have to come and, if you get number 88, they've got to come and buy it from you if you decide to list it. So that was really the whole strategy behind it, is give people the opportunity to do what they want. If they want to eventually sell it, or God forbid something happens, they lose their job, or whatever the case is, they're able to recoup their investment into it and possibly more, depending on where your slot is.
That's incredible. It's incredible in in the NFT world. It's a great way to keep the price at above floor, so to speak, of the NFT. I love that. Awesome. So to kind of take another step back, as you mentioned, there's a lot of valuable data that we don't own when it comes to cars. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what exactly that data is and how it is important? Because I do want to understand the element of, I think Vitalik once said that, the blockchain is going to be, questioning whether or not the blockchain is going to be revolutionary. A lot of people are hyping it up to say it's going to be this crazy life-changing thing. And Vitalik was very honest to be like, I think it's going to be it's going to change a lot of things and make things a lot better, but it's going to make a lot of mundane things better. And this sounds like one of those things that it's actually got a real utility for. So I'm curious if you can speak to that.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, again, and I'm not 100% of an expert on this. I've just been educated now by being, around the car guys and the DeLorean guys and, the automotive guys. But right now, the way that it works is when you, again, purchase a car, you're essentially you're not in control of any of the data from the actual vehicle itself. So again, you go in to get the car serviced, they plug into the computer of the vehicle, and they're the only ones that can see it. They'll tell you error code this or error code that or whatever the case is. Even if you go and you get a Carfax, for instance, and this is where we see the real utility for this. If you go and get a Carfax, if you're looking to buy a used car, a used vehicle, and you go get a Carfax on that vehicle, well, it's going to tell you certain data, right? But it's not going to tell you the ins and outs of the data of that vehicle. So like, for instance, when you go to certain dealerships and you've got the dealership, like they certify it pre-owned, right? Certified pre-owned vehicle, right? That means they've gone through, they have the access to all the computer systems. They could say, oh, this vehicle, is in pristine condition. The computer systems work, the electrical works, like all of this stuff works. We can see, how many times, whatever, the engine's been cranked and so on and so forth. So they have all of that data. You don't. So the idea here is that the buyer of the vehicle should own the data. They should have the data. It should be at their fingertips. So when they go to resell that vehicle, if they've done everything right and taken care of it, they can go show that next buyer, hey, I've, again, not just mileage, but, how many times the battery's been charged, all the maintenance history of the vehicle, plugged into the NFT itself. And they, offer them a token. They can get a token, and that potential buyer can look at that data and make a real decision of, what this is going to be worth to me, and was this car treated right? And I think that's something that's very valuable. especially if you're looking to buy a used car in the future. And so, many of these cars, some of them will change hands many times, right? And so, again, that's kind of the real utility or use case. It seems mundane, but really it uses NFTs and Web3 to replace Carfax, essentially.
Well, that's again pretty crazy. Someone asked a great question, and maybe this is up to the dealerships or the people that are performing on the car. How is that data transferred onto the blockchain? Is that someone asked if it's through a Wi-Fi hotspot? Can you speak to that, or do you know the technology behind that? Like how every time that this happens, like how is that reported back to the blockchain?
Yeah, so the way that we're seeing it right now, because obviously it's going to be a lot of data, is more like a weekly dump into the NFT from the IoT system. We're not that far along on that yet, but that's basically what we're looking at. It will be not a manual dump, but yeah, it'll happen through the it'll happen through the through the vehicle's either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi system.
Got it. Understood. Okay. And then I'm going through the. Very rarely do we get so many questions very early on in these discussions. Kind of come towards the end, but immediately people started hitting me with questions. So I want to make sure I get to those. And excuse my dogs in the background if you hear them wrestling. They do that a lot. One of the questions is this global or U.S. only? How are you guys handling that?
Yeah, I mean, it will be. In other countries right now, it's primarily in North America. So Canada, obviously the U.S. and Mexico and some into Central America. It's only going to be it's going to be a left-hand drive only car. So obviously, if you're in the UK or something like that, you can still have the car, I guess, if that's legal, but there will not be a right-hand drive vehicle. So for other countries, that's just not going to be countries that do that. That's not going to be possible. So because just the cost of having to engineer that, and then making so many of those, it's for such a small run of a vehicle, it's not cost effective.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely, if you live in another country that doesn't have that, you can definitely get one.
Right on. And then anyone can buy an NFT, so it doesn't.
Of course,
that definitely doesn't lock you out too. Just to answer the follow up on that question. And then our lovely member Seth has kind of asked like a litany of questions. So I'm going to try to make sure I go in order just to get them all right. You may have answered some of them, but I want to make sure, his questions get answered. Is the NFT essential to the car after sale? I hear the data storage on chain, but what if the vehicle purchaser doesn't care about that? Is there legal ramifications to not honoring the NFT if you want to sell the physical car? And then is the NFT going to cost about as much as a deposit? And what's the range, and what models are we talking about for these cars?
Yeah, there's just one model, so that's a real easy answer. It's the Alpha 5. It's one model. Obviously, there will be customization to the car. I think the other question was, is the NFT integral to the vehicle itself? Yeah, it is, because that's part of the entire overall strategy, and it's a way that we can that Delorean can know how many of these vehicles are actually on the road at any given time, and it's good for the actual owners of the vehicles, because they can know. So it really acts also as a I wouldn't say a tracker, but it acts as a way to determine the supply that's out there. So yeah, it will go with the vehicle, whether the owner uses that or not. I guess it doesn't matter, but it will go with the vehicle. And then I think there was a third one, but I can't remember what that one was now.
Deposit prices.
Oh yeah. So it's $2,500, which is in line with again, Tesla and others. Some of them have lowered the deposits down to $500, but generally for this type of a deal, it's $2,500. That buys the NFT, which gives you then it generates a randomized production slot. So that's the other thing. You don't know what production slot you're getting. We had to randomize it because, again, that's just the only way to democratize it, right? And so
Essentially, it's a randomized production slot. Then you can, on October 20th is when we're shooting to have the Delorean Exchange live. You can go on there and you can trade it. You can take it off platform if you want to. However, if you do that just because of KYC and AML type stuff, then you can't bring it back onto the platform. You just have to sell it on OpenSea or whatever you're doing there. But it really behooves you to keep it on the platform, because that's basically where we're going to be driving anybody who wants to buy a car. So, if your idea is to flip it, then you'd want to keep it on the platform so that somebody can see it, who's a real car buyer and buy it.
Yeah, for sure. And people who are going to want these are going to be car buyers, so it's probably not. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure NFT people will be interested in these as well. But there's a lot of people out there who, there's DeLorean car clubs all over the place. I know a few people who are very diehard people.
Yeah, there's currently 6,800 owners currently of the DMC 12. So there's only 6,800 of those left. There were 9,350 produced, and that's where we kind of came up with the 9,351 number, one more than the original. But there's still, 6,800 owners of these original DeLoreans out there, right? So these are the diehard fans, and they're definitely the buyers.
Awesome. And he had asked more questions to Seth. So again, I want to make sure I respect his questions here. You've answered this a few times, but just to clarify, how many actual DeLoreans total are being produced by it's DMC, right?
Yeah, by DeLorean Motor Company. It's actually DeLorean Motors Reimagined, just an offshoot. But 9,351 of the Alpha 5 will only ever be produced. They do have plans to do other vehicles. So I don't know if anybody's seen any of the news from like the Monterey Car Show where the vehicle was unveiled in Pebble Beach. But they also had what's known as a plasma tail or shooting brake there. It's like a hatchback, but a two-door. So think about it like a Lamborghini Urus type of a deal, but in my opinion looks a lot better. They're also going to launch the plasma tail, and then they have plans for an SUV as well. So multiple vehicles. The Alpha 5 will be limited though to 9,351.
And then you mentioned number 800 or something. Is that how many your project has access to, or is your project working on the entire?
Oh yeah, we're partners on the entire deal. So basically it's running on our technology, payment rails and technology and all of that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then we can, let's start talking about the car a little bit too, because I'll be honest with you, I love NFTs and stuff like that, but this car looks dope. So I want to know what exactly is the price of the car. So this is $2,500 deposit. What's the price in that car? And then I think someone mentioned talking about maybe some of the features that come in the car, because that's always important too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we're not telling what the price is right now because we just don't 100% know. And once you put an MSRP out there, then you have to stick with it. That's probably going to come towards the end of 2023. I can tell you that it will be, over the six-figure mark. So at least that'll give you an idea of what you're looking at. When I say over six figures, I'm not talking about $1 million. I'm talking about over 100,000. And so, again, it's you have to be a buyer of the car, right? You have to be somebody who wants the car if you're going to hold on to the production slot that long. In terms of the features, does that answer your question hopefully on that?
Didn't technically answer the question, but it's all you can answer. So yes, that's perfect.
That's all DeLorean will let me say. So
that's perfectly okay. No. We get that a lot here. We can't drop that kind of alpha, but I appreciate you give me an answer.
So yeah, in regards to the features, some of the cool, the whole idea, and if you go to the DeLorean.com website, they just put out a new video, but really it's all about, people spend so much time in their cars.
And it really is all about, putting the human connectedness back into the driving experience. And that's really what, they've endeavored to do. So from the sound system, which is Cambridge Audio, we're going to be at the Web3 Expo in Las Vegas next week, and we'll be unveiling some pretty cool stuff with Delorean there. But, Cambridge Audio, provides this immersive sound experience. We're actually going to have them at the expo with us, and they'll be providing, this immersive sound experience so people can actually experience what it will be like to drive the Alpha 5. Couple of other really cool features. One is, you're allowing your loved one to have a wearable technology.
Did we get rugged again?
No.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's just Cecil.
Hey, while we're trying to get them back up, do we know if what's the best way to interact with the project right now? Do they have a Discord, or is it just like traditional socials?
Yeah, so currently there is a Discord up and running. You can get that link dropped and sent on over, as well as the main Twitter account. We have created a Web3 Twitter account as well. Just gives us a little more freedom to be able to get edgier, like a lot of projects and brands are doing right now as well.
Turn around and come
so we can definitely drop those links.
Turn around slow.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Huge.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, sorry about that. Every time somebody calls my phone, I guess it kicks me off.
It's one of those classic Discord voice chat issues. Something that they will never fix. But you are now a veteran of Discord, man. Awesome.
Right on. Yeah. So where I was at, or are we good to go? I guess I can continue my last thought.
Yes, sir.
So one of the cool features is your loved ones being able to wear a device, wearable technology, where they can push a button and you can feel their heartbeat in your seat. Your wife can blow you a kiss, and you can the air will puff through the seat. Which you could figure you could probably jack with somebody pretty hard with that, if you wanted to. Another really cool feature is that when you hit 88 miles an hour, if you select this setting, it will transform the digital dash into the classic DeLorean gauge system. The way the classic DeLorean dashboard looks. So just some really cool features there. Obviously, the gull wing doors. That's a necessary feature. Some really cool features with the lights and the way the car lights up and some of the stuff there. There's a great video done in Pebble Beach by Supercar Blondie. You can go onto her YouTube or any of her social channels, and you can search for that video, or just type in Supercar Blondie Alpha 5 into a search and you'll find it. But she really goes through a lot of the features within the car. But those are some of the most fun ones for sure.
That's incredible. So I'm trying to think now, like how soon do we think the mint is going to be? Like how far away are we from the mint?
So we're doing a soft mint right now, like a soft launch, just to make sure that all the bugs are worked out. But it's only open to what are called Alphas Club members, and so Alphas Club members, it's a membership that DeLorean put together to just really connect with the fan base. It includes things like experiential events, first access to these types of deals and drops, discounted merchandise and things like that. That's an $88 membership. So it's open to only those particular members right now. We haven't opened it up to the general public. And so, that opened last week, and, I think, half of the members now have bought one of these. So, so I think there's like 6,500 members or something. So that's where we're currently at with it right now. And then, we're doing a big unveil in Vegas come Monday at the Web3 Expo, and that's kind of when we'll open it up to the general public then.
And this is going to sound like a leading question, or I don't know what it's going to sound like. But no, there's no attitude behind this whatsoever. Since you guys are partnering with us, is there any early access that we get or anything like that to this, or are we included in the general public?
Yeah, sure. We can open it up to you for sure.
Well, damn. I didn't think that was that easy. You're welcome, guys. Look at that. Okay, awesome. So can you kind of give us like your all's preparation for the Web3 event in Vegas? I actually hadn't heard of it until today. Someone told me about it. So I'm curious to know any kind of cool things that you guys are hoping to unveil there in terms of just neat marketing stuff.
Yeah, so we were planning on having the Alpha 5 there. It's been so it went right from Pebble Beach to Los Angeles, where now it's been in a couple of different movie shoots. I can only reveal one of them. I can't the other, but because it's public information. But it's going to be in the Fast and Furious 10. And so it was there for that shoot, and then it's currently in the Peterson Museum. Their exhibit didn't end until after this event, so it won't be there. But we're gonna have the next best thing. We're actually trying to currently right now get the actual vehicle. What's the word I'm looking for? I just drew a blank all of a sudden. Well, it basically digitized the entire thing. So we're doing essentially it's a digital render of the car. So there's a certain word for it now, and it just dropped out of my head for some reason.
Like augmented reality or VR?
A LiDAR scan. So basically it's a scan of the entire vehicle, and then we can put that into the metaverse. We can put that, into, many other virtual worlds if we want. That can be put into even Web 2 games. So we're doing a LiDAR scan of the car. So we plan on having a real 3D hologram model of the vehicle on display in Vegas. We'll also have Cambridge there. Cambridge Audio will be given an immersive experience. And then we're also going to unveil some, future drops that we're going to be doing for NFT holders, and then for Alphas Club members as well, that will deal with the generational vehicles. So they put together, what DeLorean would have looked like if they had continued to make cars after, over all these years. And they went back to the original design studio in Italy, and the original designer, he's now like 84, but his son and him still design cars. They had been designing DeLoreans all of these years, and so they went back to those files, and they kind of created this story around this generational. So there's well, I'm a popular guy, I guess, at 6:45 on a Friday night.
I was going to make that comment. I was like, damn, this guy is getting blown up.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I forget where I was now. What we're going to be doing. So anyways, they did these generational deals. So we're going to have some really cool stuff on display around that. And we're planning on doing a photo shoot. We're going to have the DMC, one of the DMC 12s there. So, if people buy an NFT, or if they're an Alphas Club member and they show up, then we're going to do an artistic photo shoot with the DMC 12, and then the digital photo shoot with the 3D rendered model of the Alpha 5, drop it to a key that's basically a key, a DeLorean key that is also a thumb drive, and we'll airdrop it right to there and right to somebody's phone if they want. And they'll have that, just kind of as a memorabilia. So those are some of the things that we're going to be doing. But yeah, it should be a really, really fun time. The entire DeLorean team will be there. So the CEO, Joost de Vries, he'll be there. The CMO, Troy Beats, will be there. Cameron Wynn, who's the chief business officer. He'll be there, and he's also the chief business officer for Classic DeLorean, and so he'll be there. And so yeah, we're gonna have a great time.
That's I hate to say hell yeah in an interview. I know when I went to interviewing school, we were told not to say hell yeah after everything. But this is just such a cool project. It's just all I can say is like hell yeah, that's awesome. So okay, so we talked about this soft bent kind of process. So if someone's listening today or in the next week, what would be the process for us to be able to get in on this?
Yeah, we'll have to give you a backlink to it, but I'll definitely do that. And the guys that are on this call, they can grab that link from me and can get it over to you, because the only way to do it right now is to be an Alphas Club member. So we can definitely hook that up. You can also, it's not really public, but you can also join the Alphas Club if you wanted to. You can go to launch.delorean.com. If you do that, then you automatically get piped into the system, and then you can make a purchase. Again, we haven't made that public yet. It's only been broadcast out to those that had expressed interest on the DeLorean site to reserve a vehicle, and so that's really all it's been broadcast out to. We haven't really opened it up publicly, but you can go to launch.delorean.com, join the Alphas Club, and then you can sign up and register for you can mint an NFT. Or I can just give you a backlink and you can go right to the NFT. So either one.
Awesome. So I guess we've kind of gone through the questions. We've kind of drilled you guys on like what exactly we're looking at. Is there anything that maybe we haven't brushed upon about the DeLorean project here that you guys wanted to make sure that we're aware of? Like maybe a feature or a utility, which I think is a hilarious thing to say out loud in this project, because the utility is literally the car you get. But is there anything that maybe you wanted to bring awareness to before we jump off?
Yeah, I think one thing that we haven't talked about is, some of the utility, or I guess kind of baked in, what I would call benefits or features to having the NFT is that, we're going to do a gameable avatar. So we've already have relationship and deals with Sony, with Microsoft, with Epic, and some of these other gaming platforms, and then also looking to potentially do some collaboration with Metaverse racing games. So the holders of the NFT will also have a gameable avatar that will be playable in games like Need for Speed or Forza and others. As we build that out, so that's a pretty cool thing. And then part of this is like really just these VIP experiential type of events. So, for instance, on October 20th, the Alpha 5 will be at Barrett-Jackson in Houston. We're working with Barrett-Jackson right now on getting all of our NFT holders VIP access to those types of events. So it'll be there in Houston. It'll also be in Arizona, and those are just really, I don't know if you guys have ever been to any kind of car shows or anything like that, but those are just really fun, really cool, events. And then you get to, get to also kind of, be there and take pictures with the Alpha 5 and all of that in person. So, so some of those things I think are really cool that we're working on doing. And, it's not just the digital world, but also kind of like how do we take this and then bring it into this, the physical realm as well. And some of those events and things like that where we can, physically go see the car. I think those are cool things that we're doing. So, I think that's about it.
One question I've been meaning to ask this whole time is obviously we have the community manager here. Can we maybe understand a little bit more about what the community's focus and role will be with this project? Like a sense of like bringing people together via the NFT and via the car. Can we maybe speak to that kind of initiative?
Yeah, I dropped again, so I missed the first part of that. It wasn't my phone this time. It was me actually just hitting the end button for some reason.
Just a question for the community manager on how important the idea of community is for this particular NFT and the card and everything. I'm curious to know the initiatives behind that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, community is everything. Obviously, we know this in NFTs, especially with what you guys have built here. I know you guys definitely understand the value of community and what a whole community can come together to accomplish. I think really the importance of the Delorean community is kind of what we were talking about earlier, is there's already these communities everywhere of these DMC-12s and other Delorean cars. This is a place where they can all, from the get-go, as soon as they buy the car, they're initiated into this community. And we think that that's going to be really, really cool for how these kind of meets and shows and collaborations happen within the Delorean ecosystem and within fans or in between fans themselves. So they can meet up and figure out who's in their area where they can go do a drive.
That's awesome. I love to know. I love to know that the community is still the driver behind such a really high profile project. I'm really excited to see the reaction you guys get in Las Vegas to see where this goes, because this is really exciting.
Yeah, we're excited about it as well, and been working on this now for the last close to 12 months, just nonstop. So it's good to finally be out there and be able to share it a little bit.
Excellent. Well, I want to go ahead and then thank you guys again for joining us tonight. We are excited to be partners with you guys. I can't wait. If anyone's out there and you're listening to this between now and Vegas for MVHQ, and you want to get a DeLorean, a real brand new DeLorean, why don't you guys hit up? I'm sure we'll have a link here or a way to get it, but come into Office Hours Chat, and I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere eventually on how you can attain it. But I definitely want to make sure that we as a community have at least like 50 of these things driving around when we go to these events. So
that would be awesome.
Well, again, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks, everyone, for listening later on. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you guys have a successful project. Man, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for your time.
Can I ask one last question?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Can you guys have the trilogy of Back to the Future soundtrack pre-installed, please?
Yeah, for sure, brother.
Especially Johnny. We need Johnny Be Good in there for sure, right?
Need Johnny Be Good in there. Definitely. I like that one. Cool deal. We'll work on that, bro.
Sounds good, guys. Hey, that was awesome. Really appreciate it.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.